Being able to have that resource, being able to have that person I'm able to talk to and call whenever I'm having questions about the game, and he's able to relate to it because he did it at the highest level is truly amazing. I'm thankful for that.
What is the origin of the relationship with Tom?
Say it again?
What's the origin of the relationship with Tom? Did it come about your dad or something?
Well, far back, I'll say a couple years ago, he extended his hand. He was like, come work out. Yeah, Tom Brady, he's all-time great. Being able to have that resource, being able to have that person I'm able to talk to and call whenever I'm having questions about the game, and he's able to relate to it because he did it at the highest level is truly amazing.
Being able to have that resource. What in the world is really going down in these NFL draft streets? Stay right here, because this story goes deeper than the headlines. Let's rewind the clock. So, don't skip a single second of this video. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let's begin. This was never just about football. And the moment that video hit the internet, everything changed. I'm serious, everything. Because we're not just talking about a random viral clip or some sideline drama that fades away in a 2-4-hour news cycle. No, this right here, this is a bombshell collision of power, legacy, and control. And it just pulled Shedeur Sanders straight into the center of it, whether the league was ready or not. Think about what we just saw for a second. Tom Brady, the most composed, calculated, untouchable figure this sport has ever seen. 20+ years in the NFL without losing control, without slipping, without ever letting the moment get bigger than him. That guy, even being associated with something messy, something physical, something controversial like this, that alone should tell you, this is not normal. This is not business as usual. And the craziest part? This situation didn't just expose tension between two legends. It instantly elevated Shedeur Sanders from young quarterback with potential to a central figure in a league-wide narrative. Overnight, one moment he's a prospect trying to find his place in the draft conversation. Next moment, he's standing in the middle of a storm involving his father, one of the most polarizing icons in sports history, and Tom Brady, a man who now holds power inside the league, not just on the field. That's not a coincidence. That's pressure. That's politics. That's power moving in real time. Because here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. The NFL has never just been about talent. It's never been just about what you do on Sundays. It's about who controls the story, who shapes the narrative, and who gets to decide how your career begins before you ever take a snap. And the Sanders name? That doesn't walk into the league quietly. That name comes with cameras. It comes with expectations. It comes with a spotlight so bright that every single move gets magnified. Deion built that. He lived that. And now, Shedeur? He's inheriting all of it. The respect, the hate, the pressure, all at once. So when this moment goes viral, it's not just entertainment. This is where careers are shaped or destroyed. This is where narratives get written before the season even starts. This is where people decide who you are before you ever get the chance to prove it on the field. And if you don't think that matters, if you think this is just noise, just drama, just another headline that'll disappear next week, then you're already missing the bigger picture. Let's be real for a second. The league doesn't know what to do with Shedeur Sanders. And you can feel it. You can hear it in the conversations, see it in the draft reactions, read it all over the headlines. Because nothing about his situation makes sense on the surface. You're talking about a quarterback with real production, real poise, real command of an offense, not just hype. This isn't some raw project. This is a guy who's been battle-tested, who's put up numbers, who's led programs, who's walked into pressure and performed. And yet, he slides? That's where it gets weird. Because when a player with that level of talent starts falling, the league usually gives you a clear reason. Mechanics, decision-making, consistency, something. But here, the explanations feel scattered, inconsistent, almost forced. One day, it's arm strength questions. Next day, it's system quarterback. Then suddenly, it's attitude or fit. It keeps changing. And that's when you start realizing, this isn't just evaluation. This feels like uncertainty. Controlled uncertainty. Because Shedeur doesn't walk into the NFL like a normal rookie. He already has power. He already has a voice. He already has a platform that most players spend years trying to build. And whether people want to admit it or not, that changes how teams look at you. Because franchises don't just draft talent, they draft control. They draft players they believe they can shape, guide, manage. And Shedeur? He's not built to be managed quietly. He comes in with expectations, with confidence, with a last name that already carries weight in every room. That makes some teams excited, but it makes others uncomfortable. Because now, it's not just about developing a quarterback, it's about handling a presence. And that's a different conversation. You can see it in how the media started shifting. Early on, it was all hype, all excitement, top prospect, future star. But then, slowly, the tone changes. Questions start creeping in. Narratives start forming. And it happens fast. We've seen this before. Think about guys like Jalen Hurts doubted, questioned, labeled, until the league had no choice but to respect him. The difference is, Shedeur is dealing with that pressure before he even takes his first NFL snap. That's the reality. He's not just a rookie, he's a movement. He's not just a quarterback, he's a statement. And the league hasn't figured out how to process that yet. So, yeah, the draft slide, the mixed signals, the hesitation, that's not random. That's what it looks like when a system runs into something it can't fully control. Which brings us to the real question. It's not if Shedeur Sanders is good enough. It's who's actually ready to handle him. This is where it turns into pressure. Real pressure. Not the kind you see on the field. Not 3rd and long, not a 2-minute drill. I'm talking about the kind of pressure that builds off the field, quietly at first, and then all at once. Because now the conversation around Shedeur Sanders isn't just about football anymore, it's about who he is. You hear it everywhere. Is he too confident? Is he coachable? Is the spotlight too big? And I don't know about you, but every time I hear that, it feels like the narrative is shifting on purpose. Because confidence suddenly becomes a problem when it comes from the wrong player. And the Sanders name? That just adds fuel to everything. Let's be honest, being Deion Sanders' son isn't just a blessing. It's a spotlight you can't turn off. Every throw gets judged harder. Every interview gets dissected. Every reaction gets magnified. People aren't just evaluating his game. They're evaluating his personality, his attitude, his presence. That's a different level of pressure. And then you add everything happening around him. The draft uncertainty, the media noise, and now, his father, at the center of a viral controversy. At 23 years old, think about that for a second. You're about to enter the biggest moment of your career, your entire future hanging in the balance. And suddenly, the cameras aren't just on you for football. They're on your family, your name, your every move. That's not normal. And this is where it starts to feel bigger than just criticism. This feels like politics. Because in the NFL, not everything happens out in the open. There are conversations behind closed doors, evaluations that never get reported, opinions that get passed around quietly until they start sounding like facts. Whispers turn into narratives, and narratives turn into labels. All of a sudden, questions about character start showing up, even when the tape says something completely different. Concerns about fit appear out of nowhere, even when the production is right there in front of you. That doesn't just happen randomly. This isn't just criticism. This is pressure being applied. And the media? They don't help. They circle these moments. They amplify them. They push and push and push, waiting for something. Waiting for a reaction they can clip, replay, and turn into the next headline. Because that's the game. They wanted a reaction. They needed a reaction. They were waiting for him to slip. Waiting for one emotional response. One wrong quote. One moment where the pressure cracks through and gives them exactly what they've been building toward. Because in moments like this, you're not just being evaluated as a player. You're being tested as a person. And the truth is, we've seen careers shift off moments like this before. One headline can change perception. One narrative can follow you for years. Because in the NFL, once they put a label on you, it sticks. And that's what makes this moment so dangerous. Because in situations like this, one mistake doesn't just cost you a game. It can follow you for your entire career. And this is where everything flipped. Because in a moment that was designed to break him, Shedeur Sanders didn't just survive it, he showed you exactly who he is. And I mean that. Think about the setup, the pressure, the noise, the cameras, the narratives already being written before he even had a chance to speak. This was one of those moments where most players, especially rookies, lose control. They get emotional. They say too much. They try to defend everything all at once and end up feeding the fire. We've seen it happen before, but not here. Not this time. Because when the spotlight hit Shedeur, he didn't react like a kid stepping into chaos. He responded like someone who's been preparing for this his entire life. Calm, composed, controlled, and that's rare. Most players fold here. He didn't. Most rookies react. He calculated. That's the difference. He didn't jump into the headlines trying to win a media battle. He didn't throw fuel on the situation just to prove a point. He didn't let emotion take over and drag him into something bigger than football. Instead, he stayed grounded. He addressed what needed to be addressed, stood behind his family without turning it into a circus, and then just as importantly, he moved on. That's the part people don't talk about enough. Because it's one thing to say the right things. It's another thing to say them, and then not let the moment consume you. That takes discipline. That takes awareness. That takes a level of mental toughness that you cannot fake. He didn't panic. He didn't fold. He didn't break. And if you're a coach, if you're a veteran in that locker room, if you're a front office trying to figure out who can lead your franchise moving forward, that matters more than anything you're seeing on a stat sheet right now. Because arm talent gets you noticed. But composure under pressure, that's what earns respect. That's what builds trust. That's what makes grown men in a locker room look at a young quarterback and say, "Yeah, that's our guy." And you can already feel that shift happening. Fans see it. Teammates see it. Even people who doubted him are starting to take a second look. Because moments like this don't lie. You can't fake your way through this kind of pressure. You either rise or you get exposed. And Shedeur? He rose. Not loudly, not recklessly, but with control, with presence, with the kind of quiet confidence that hits even harder than any emotional reaction ever could. That's leadership. That's maturity. That's someone who's already thinking like a franchise quarterback before he even takes his first NFL snap. And once people saw that, once they realized he wasn't going to crack, wasn't going to play into the chaos, wasn't going to give them the reaction they were waiting for, that's when everything started to shift. This might be the moment we look back on and realize everything started right here. Not the draft, not his first start, not his first touchdown. Right here. Because what just happened, this chaos, this pressure, this spotlight, this isn't just another chapter in Shedeur Sanders' story. This might be the foundation of it. And I truly believe that. Because moments like this don't break stars. They create them. We've seen it before. The players who get doubted early, questioned publicly, tested before they even get their shot, those are the ones who either disappear or they turn into something different. Something dangerous. And right now, everything about this situation is setting Shedeur up for that kind of path. Think about it. He's already been through the noise. Already been through the narratives. Already been forced to prove himself before even stepping onto an NFL field. Most rookies don't experience this level of pressure until years into their careers. He's dealing with it before his first snap, and he's still standing. They doubted him. They questioned him. They tried to shake him, and he's still standing. That matters more than people realize. Because when you come into this league with that kind of mental edge, with that kind of resilience already built in, it changes everything. Now it's not just about whether you can throw the ball, read a defense, or win games. Now it's about how you respond when the moment gets heavy. And he's already shown you that. So honestly, I don't care where he gets drafted anymore. First round, fifth round, doesn't matter. Because we've seen players fall before and turn that fall into fuel. We've seen guys get overlooked, Underestimated, pushed to the side, and then come back and make the league regret every second of it. That's how legacies get built. And with Shedeur, there's something bigger at play too. This isn't just his journey. This is the continuation of the Sanders legacy, a name that's always been about confidence, about presence, about walking into a room and refusing to be ignored. Deion did it one way. Shedeur is about to do it his own way. But the core? It's the same. Unapologetic, unshaken, unstoppable when it clicks. And you can feel it building. You can feel that shift where people stop looking at him as just Deion's son and start realizing this is his own story now. And if he keeps stacking moments like this, if he keeps showing this level of composure, this level of belief, this level of control under pressure, then this league is going to have a problem, a real one. Because quarterbacks with talent are everywhere. But quarterbacks with something to prove, with pressure already behind them, with a chip on their shoulder, this early, those are the ones who change everything. So yeah, maybe this started as controversy. Maybe it started as noise. But I'm telling you right now, it's turning into something else. Something bigger. The league might not be ready, but it's coming anyway. And when it does, remember where you heard it first.